For me, it's therapy.
It's like meditation.
Yeah, for sure. Being on a motorcycle and being on stage for me is the only time I'm only thinking about what it is I'm doing at that particular moment.
Eu já tive banda com um amigo já que ele também andava sobre duas rodas, só que era uma mobilete.
Kind of like that Buddhist, like be in the moment kind of thing.
What's up, guys? I'm Jake from Prism Supply.
Olha o tamanho, mano, do maluco. O outro cara, tipo, deve ser meio baixinho também, mas, mano...
Welcome to our series, My Garage. In this episode, we're right outside Orlando, Florida, featuring my friend, guitar player from Slipknot, Mr. Jim Root. To your garage today, you have an incredible collection of Mopars, motorcycles, as well as guitars, amps.
There's a lot of cool stuff in there. Let's go look at it.
Let's go check it out.
É, tipo, aí você vê esse monte de coisa e tal, e brasileiro sempre olha e fala, mano, cadê o portão dessa casa, né? Caralho.
And I wanted to have a place where everything could live in one place and I could have it organized and neat, and if I wanted to take this car or that bike out, I could do so. Plus it's cool to just walk in and go, oh, that's what basically 30 years of work professionally has...
Ó, eu nunca fui muito de moto não, mano. Tipo, eu sempre preferi mais carro também. Na verdade, nunca pirei muito em carro também. Mas entre moto e carro, eu sempre preferi mais carro, tá ligado? Só que, porra, uma coleçãozinha dessa eu não ia negar, não.
Gotten me, and it makes you like kind of appreciate things a little more, you know?
Yeah. Overall layout of the space, you have this main big garage, is where you keep your cars. And then behind that, you have your motorcycle garage as well as guitar and amp storage. And then you also have a studio attached to this.
Yeah, when we're not on tour, I write at home. Sometimes I jam with our drummer here or whoever else wants to come in and jam. To have this spot where I'm working. And then if I decide in the middle of something I'm stuck on an idea or my creativity isn't flowing or I'm a little uninspired, it's real simple just to be like, you know what, I'm just gonna come out here, throw a helmet on, grab a bike and go disappear for an hour or two and then come back and then see what happens, see if that...
Tadinho dele, às vezes precisa relaxar. Não, mas é compreensível. E porra, cara, eu já morei em espaços muito menores do que aquela garagem ali. Só a garagem dele já é maior do que muito lugar que eu já morei. E, mano, que home studio, hein? Puta, ter um home studio desse, isso aí sim que é ostentação, hein, velho? Foda.
See if that like cleared my head out.
That's cool.
Which kind of to me is a lot of what motorcycling is, you know. For me it's therapy.
It's like meditation.
Yeah, for sure. Being on a motorcycle and being on stage for me is the only time I'm only thinking about what it is I'm doing at that particular moment. It's kind of like that Buddhist, like be in the moment kind of thing.
So you were telling me about this car a little bit earlier. It's a beautiful car. 1969.
1969 Roadrunner. So I decided to just rip it all the way down, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try to leave this thing as stock looking as I possibly can.
Ó, provavelmente quem manja de carro aí tá pirando agora, né? Mas tipo, cara, eu não manjo nada, né? Como eu já disse aí, nunca pirei tanto assim. Pra mim, o carro tá ali e tal, abasteço ele, faço troca de óleo. Eu tenho um amigo mecânico, algo que muita gente aí gostaria de ter, né? Então eu sempre levo pra ele lá, ele dá aquela olhada tal, ver se precisa fazer alguma coisa ou não. E, porra, não manjo nada. Se der algum pau no carro, eu ligo pro seguro. Infelizmente, não manjo nada, velho.
But I want it to handle as well as it can for being a big boat. Mm-hmm. So now it's a 542 stroker. It's got
Crazy.
a fast fuel injection system in it.
How much horsepower did you say?
It's got over 900. I don't know. And what's funny is they put the Chrysler logo upside down, whoever did the interior. So I call it the anti-Chrysler.
Is this also 69?
This is 69 Super B. Numbers matching, stock. I think I'm the second owner. It's correct to the fender tag and the VIN number on it. It goes back to my purist roots when it comes to these. I like seeing them how they were from the factory. That doesn't mean you can't build the motor up a little bit so it would feel like it pulls a little bit harder than what it's doing now.
Yeah, that's something I've noticed about you. You definitely like power.
I'm a horsepower junkie.
Yeah.
It's like how far do you take it, you know?
Mopars and Harleys, that's what you like.
I like them.
And guitars.
Guitars, Mopars, Harleys, drums.
It's gonna be on your tombstone.
Video games. Here lies a man-child.
Cara, homem nunca deixa de ser moleque, essa é a realidade. Seja qual hobby for, tá ligado? Videogame, moto, guitarra. E dá pra perceber que a gente nem entrou ainda, né, pro restante da casa, mas já deu pra perceber que o Slipknot deu uma qualidade de vida pro Jim Root das boas, hein, mano?
That figured out some way to extend his adolescence indefinitely.
That's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't that what we're all trying to do?
Yeah, careful what you ask for. This connects to the
Olha aí.
studio, so I wanted any guitar that I wanted to like mess with while I'm writing or just play around with. I wanted to be able to just walk through that door and pick whichever guitar that I could, or amp or whatever it is for the recording process.
Nossa.
If I decide, oh, I want to bring this Tele or this Strat or this Jazzmaster or this Charvel.
So it's not the same for every tour. You
No,
switch
I
it
like
up.
to switch it up. Keep
Do
things
you have like
interesting,
one
you know?
staple guitar though? That's like this is the one I,
I do.
always bring.
My main Tele, my number one Tele, that was my first prototype. That's my favorite guitar, not just live, but like studio-wise too.
Which that's not typically like a metal guitar. Right?
No, but one thing, I'm not a purist. I might be a purist with the Mopars, but when it comes to guitars, Tele and Jazzmaster purists, or even Strat purists, probably hate me because I've kind of bastardized them a little bit.
Choppered them.
I made them more practical for what it is I do, mainly in Slipknot. You know, when you're in a band with 8 other guys, there's a lot of sound going on, so you got to cut through, you got to punch, you know, and you got to have a good balance. In a lot of ways, that's just like racing. You know what I mean? Like guys that set up bikes. Like you can set up a bike depending on if you're in the mountains or if you're at sea level, or you know what I mean. There's all these different things that you have to think about.
I actually feel that way about your motorcycle collection. Is you do have a motorcycle for every single scenario. Like
That's the problem with motorcycles. You can't just have one, because what if you want to do a different type of riding?
That's right.
You know? I'm just now kind of getting into like the new Softails, like this El Diablo.
so, this is the bike you've been riding the most.
This, like lately, like the past couple months, like when I jump on a bike, this will be the one that I jump on.
I was stoked to see that you got this bike. It's a
fun
rare bike.
It's a fun bike too, man. And for these new M8s, man, they don't take much and they pull pretty hard, you know.
And 91 Sturgis.
91 Sturgis, all stock. It sat in the Sturgis Harley Museum for a number of years. It's only got, well, now it's got what, 32?
Cara, a gente sabe que, né, o preço das coisas, principalmente assim, carro, moto, tipo eletrônicos, tudo isso lá fora, de um cara como ele, que tá numa banda grande e tal, são coisas bem mais fáceis, né, bem mais acessíveis do que seriam aqui. Mas ainda assim, tipo, mesmo não manjando nada, eu sei que, tipo, Harley Davidson é uma das paradas mais caras que tem, né, quando a gente fala de moto e tal. Então, porra, o cara tem uma coleção de respeito aí, velho. Tô boiando totalmente nas descrições aí, mas tô achando animal, velho. Um hobby que, se fosse aqui no Brasil, seria um hobby bem caro, né? Acho que lá não é dos mais baratos, mas aqui seria muito mais caro.
3,200 miles on it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, when I bought it, it had 2,400 miles on it.
Have you done many rides on this bike?
Yes, I've only taken it off road once. Mainly, I've taken it to the Tail of Dragon a couple of times, and it was a lot of fun up there. For being an adventure bike, it corners and handles like a street bike.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Like a sport bike.
Yeah, like a sport bike for sure. It takes corners so well, and the suspension is so smart. Like you can feel it adjusting and moving around, and it's crazy. When I have time between tours, this bike is going to get the shit beat out of it because I'm not going to be nice to it, and it'll take it.
It will.
You know.
Yeah.
So here's.
Mano, o Jim, quem acompanha o Jim no Instagram e tal, sabe que ele brisa mesmo, assim, nessas paradas de bike, né? Ele pega pra fazer uns rolê monstro lá com os amigos dele e tal. Tipo, andam pra caramba de moto e tal. Será que se o Jim Root fosse brasileiro, ele ia ser um tiozão de motoclube já? A pergunta que fica no ar aí, né?
So here's some guitars that I play sometimes.
So obviously, I don't need to introduce.
Caralho, velho. A barba e o cabelo dele, o vento bate ali, tudo se entrelaça. Pô, o cara tá parecendo um homem das cavernas, velho.
Introduce you as a guitar player. Everybody knows you as a guitar player for Slipknot. How did you get into that?
A Wait and Bleed tem uma outra versão de um clipe que é animado, né? Que usa esses bonecos aqui. Porra, animal, hein, velho? Peça de colecionador fodaça, né? E tá com cara, né? Nada mais justo.
I mean, I always wanted to play guitar.
Esse é o álbum, hein? Pra quem não sabe, esse aí é o meu álbum favorito do Slipknot. Eu vou deixar no card aí um vídeo onde eu faço um ranking da discografia. Quando eu fiz esse vídeo aí, ainda não tinha os álbuns mais recentes. Eu acho que os 2 últimos ainda não tinham lançado. Quem sabe eu faço um ranking atualizado aí, né? Deixa aí nos comentários se você quer.
And be in a band, since my earliest memories are that, of wanting to do that, like obsessive. It was one of those things where I just, and I begged.
Que bonitinho, mano. Ele poderia ser guitarrista do Pantera lá, nas origens do Pantera. Tá aí, ó. Seria um candidato aí.
And I begged my parents for a guitar until finally, when I was 14, they got me one. And And then I just spent a lot of time, I spent every waking hour with a guitar trying to figure out what's this thing and why am I so attracted to it. After Corey had joined Slipknot, I was in a band called Dead Front, and in Des Moines we had a lot of success. And I had been called by Clown and Joey and Ross Robinson to join Slipknot. And I told guys in my band that I wouldn't do it if they ever called me, that I would say no. And I think I said that because I didn't think they would ever call me. But I also didn't want to feel like anything was ever handed to me. I wanted to feel like I did it on my own, that I did the legwork. I was like, yeah, you know, they called me to ask me to join Slipknot. And my buddy Zach's funny. He's like, what are you, fucking stupid? What'd you say no for? Dude, you've been working your ass off since you were 16 playing in bands and clubs, and you played with these guys in bands and clubs. He's like, very few times in life do you get a chance to take a huge leap forward. That doesn't come sometimes ever to anybody.
Cara, isso aí é muito louco, né? Tem vários casos, assim, tipo, de músicos que são de bandas, assim, mais conhecidas, menores e tal. E o Slipknot, pelo jeito, aí ele já tava com o contrato certo, né? Já tava com o Ross Robson ali pronto pra produzir o álbum. Aliás, eles já estavam produzindo, se não me engano, e eles já estavam gravando, e o Jim Root entrou, tá ligado? E, porra, isso aí é muito foda, né? Claro, pra pessoa que tá entrando pra uma banda que, tipo, tá com um contrato foda pra assinar e tal, meio que viver do sonho, né? Aquela coisa toda. E pros amigos que estão em volta ali também deve ser animal, né? Já aconteceu com alguém de vocês aí? Ou vocês conhecem alguma história dessa? Tipo, de um cara que era de uma banda ali meio desconhecidona e tal, e foi chamado pra uma banda grande. Você apoiou seu amigo? Ou você sabe se os amigos dele apoiaram ele ou ela? Deixa aí nos comentários. Animal.
So I immediately got up from the table and got on an actual payphone and called Clown Collect. You guys find a guitar player yet? And he's like, nope. And it was a Saturday night. I'm like, I decided, fuck it. So I literally quit my job that Monday and then rehearsed with that band Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday I got in a car with Mick and we drove to LA to work.
Porra, corajoso, hein, mano? Porque, tipo, beleza, uma proposta foda, né? Aquela coisa toda que eu acabei de falar aí. Só que ele meio que meteu as caras, assim, tipo... Ele devia conhecer os caras ali, mas não era nada, tipo assim, conhecer bem as pessoas que estavam ali naquela banda. Tipo, meio que já enfiar a cara e encarar, viver com os caras ali, né? Tipo, é praticamente um relacionamento, né? Praticamente não, é um relacionamento, né? Você tá ali com os caras diariamente, fazendo tour, gravando álbum, aquela coisa toda. Então, pô, o cara queria mesmo a parada, né? Tipo, foi pra cima. Animal, velho.
Work on the rest of the first self-titled release record. Guitars for me are tools. And some tools do certain jobs really well, and some don't do certain jobs very well. And some are just cool to look at, and some look like shit, but they sound amazing and they play really great. Like these guitars probably sound better now than they did when they were built, because wood ages and it solidifies, and it was alive at some point, and in some ways it still is, you know. Here's a cool guitar. This is a 1969.
Os guitarristas devem estar pirando aí agora, hein?
So this guitar was built before I was born. A lot of people were born. But the thing is they just get so cool and so much better with age. And look at that thing. Like, isn't that a work of art?
Cara, a imagem
Sick
aproximada.
guitar.
It's a hang.
Bonito, hein, velho?
And you also have a studio as a part of your garage.
It's not like a legit studio. It's like a demo studio. It's really cool to see a process come from like
Você aí, músico, amigo músico, gostaria de ter um estúdio demo, um estúdio para fazer demos como esse daí? Porra, acho que seria legal, né?
idea in your head
Nossa.
to a full arrangement that a band has helped you create, and then being on a stage at, let's say, like Download in England, where there's 86,000 people in front of you, and they're singing those words back to you, and they're jumping in time with your music. It's so mind-blowing, and it's like, I don't know, I can't even describe the feeling.
Cara, isso aí é foda mesmo, né, mano? Imagina, tipo, você cria a parada ali e tal, e você vê dezenas de milhares de pessoas cantando junto com você aquela música que você compôs ali no seu cantinho e tal. Pô, isso aí é animal, velho. E dá pra perceber, tipo, como o cara curte mesmo, né? Como ele é apaixonado pelo que ele faz, tipo, do jeito que ele fala, assim. Dá pra sentir, tipo, muita verdade, assim, mano. Do caralho.
That's something that you guys have done an incredible job as a band, is obviously creating music, but creating this culture and community that surrounds you guys.
That's the crazy thing, man. I mean, if it weren't for this culture of fans that we have, I wouldn't be able to have or do any of the things that I do. If something that I've done helps somebody that's a fan of ours mentally, that means more to me than any of the cars or motorcycles or guitars or, you know, the house or any of that stuff. To me, that's hella way more important, but because that means it's valid. What I'm doing isn't
Papinho de artista ou verdade? acho que é quente.
just some pipe dream that I had when I was a kid to be a fucking rock star or whatever. That means you're actually helping people. Everything we've done seems so surreal to me, and it seems like such a dream life to live. Like, I'm truly grateful for every moment and every time we step on a stage.
Já tem uma espada ali, velho. Uma par de guitarra, computador, amp e tal. Um kit de bateria humilde, né? Tranquilinho. Porra.
That's it for this episode.
Muito louco, hein? Curti. Foda.